Good morning, everyone. So we'll wait for 3 more minutes. Okay. So how are you doing? How are you all? So all of you very young people. So you might have already seen some of my videos. Some of you. So every time I do this orientation, I am in a dilemma, like what new I have to tell, right? So some of you, yeah, please come. Yeah, some of you have already watched the same dialogue, same advices. Like ikade munde bandi, why are you going to the corner? Come here. ಇವಾಗಲಾದರೂ ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ. You shift to that side now. Come to the front. ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಆ ಕಡೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ. So you can remove mask. So all of you must be knowing about me. I mean, just an assumption. So myself, Vinay Kumar. So I am the founder and director of Insights IAS. So in this orientation, what would you like to hear from me, right? So what are the expectations you have in your mind? So like this is your first session and kind of first introduction to UPSC civil services preparation, a formal introduction, right? So you must be having so many thoughts in your mind, right? That not only thoughts, so many doubts also, and fear also, in some cases. So you can feel free to ask any doubts you have, any thoughts that you would like to share. And in this session, I am going to clear as many doubts as possible from my side itself. After that, we can have an interactive session also, right? So broadly, this is going to be a two-part session. Something the first part will be what you should do to crack this examination. Secondly, what we are going to do from Insights IAS, what we are going to do, how we are going to help you, how we are going to facilitate this whole transformation of you, from an aspirant to topper. So regarding that, I'll be taking a session here. Right. So the first part. So what you must do, what you need to do. Do you have any idea? And what it takes to crack this examination. So what are few essential things? So I keep using the terms non-negotiable things, few fundamental things, right? So which are very crucial for you to crack this examination, right? And I'm completely aware of you when you are sitting and watching me talk here, and I'm aware of what is going on in your mind, right? Now not like a magician or anything. So I used to be in your place like many years ago. So nearly 18 years ago, right? And I used to be like you, wandering for guidance, going after people, to find a solution how to crack this examination, right? And by doing your own research, taking feedback from other people, you have finally decided to come to Bangalore and join Insights IAS. So that is the first step you have taken, right? So today in this first class, I would like to open your minds and I would like to open your eyes to certain realities about the competition, about the exam itself. So I believe if you want to crack examination, any examination, and in general if you want to really succeed in life, first you should know the realities, you should know the depth of the competition, right? So you should be aware of what you are actually fighting against, right? Secondly, once you are aware that what is the force with which you are going to fight against, and then the second is, are you prepared to fight it out till whatever time it takes, whatever efforts it takes to defeat that force, right? So that is going to be again as part of the first part itself. And some of you might have already prepared mentally that yes, so when you took the decision, when you convinced your parents, so I know because lots of you come and talk to me that you convinced your parents to pay the fees, to send you to Bangalore. How many of you are from outside Bangalore here? So literally the whole class. How many of you are from Bangalore? Yeah, maybe around 20-25 people, right? So again, to come to Bangalore, it was not an easy decision, right? And especially girls, getting adjusted to PG culture, and boys finding room partner, and I'm sure like morning, the breakfast problem, lunch, dinner. So these things will be there. These are all very small problems, but the bigger problem, having settled here in Bangalore, right now you have a target of minimum 2 years, maybe maximum 3 to 4 years, right? So you have in front of you 2 years of time to crack this examination. That is something minimum, right? So because all of you are going to give this examination is 2024, right? So that is what you have in your mind. 24 is your target. If unfortunately if you don't crack in 24, either prelims or mains or interview stage, so there is one more attempt in 25. So which will take another 1 to 2 years extra. So you have maximum 4 years, minimum 2 years. Now you should having come as a kind of a blank slate. All of you are blank slate, irrespective of how many gold medals you have won, how much of 90+ percentages you have scored in your graduation. For this examination, this is going to be a totally new journey for you, right? So this is the first realization you should have it, right? When I say this is going to be a new journey, new learning phase, there should not be any linking between how you perform during your academics and how you are going to perform from today onwards. Did anybody understand this message? The reason I am emphasizing on this is, once you start comparing the earlier phase and this new phase, it starts creating stress. The reason is that you will not be able to perform equally well the way you used to perform before this day during your graduation. So here there are going to be many failures on day-to-day basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, right? So you should not link with your graduation performance, right? So whatever extracurriculars, whatever you did, that is already part of your personality, but how you are going to deal with from today onwards is totally new. So for that you have to have a mindset of a learner. From every day, the only mindset you should have is to learn, keep learning. Every day, every minute, every hour, every week. So some people come with the notion that because of the education system, first week for you, after 1 week of teaching, there is going to be a test on Sunday, both prelims and mains. So your expectation is that you have to do very well in the test. So that is obvious. Definitely as a competition you want to perform well. But what happens? That performance will not be to your expected level. Got it? It applies to everyone. So out of this 200+ students, there may be like 5-6 students who will do very well, right? And they might have come prepared here. They might have read NCERTs already, right? And maybe they are very fast in comprehending things, applying those things. So don't compare with them. But for most of you, for 99% of you people, it is going to be difficult, right? So being aware, right, of this shortcoming which is going to be part of you should motivate you to learn more, not demotivate you to go away from this race. So that is what I am witnessing, unfortunately, right. So what I am witnessing past 8 years, when you do not perform well in tests, in classroom, and when you go back to your room, the way you read, the way you want to make notes, the way you want to remember stuff, when you are not making any progress, most of the people get scared and try to quit, right. So now that is how the competition goes on getting eliminated here. So there are 10 lakh applicants for preliminary examination, and 4 to 5 lakh people will write. So 5 lakh people, for various reasons, one of which fear is the dominant reason. So they don't even attempt the examinations. So the various reasons include limited attempts, lack of preparation and other things. And within 5 lakh people who write the preliminary examination, and again during the examination they fail because of fear, right. While giving the examination, the fear comes, when you don't know questions, when you don't know answer to some of the questions. So let us assume there are 4 to 5 questions in the first page and you don't know any answer to 4 to 5 questions. Yeah, come. So what happens, you get anxious, you start getting really scared about the paper. And now why that happens in the preliminary examination on the day of actual examination is because you haven't conditioned yourself, conditioned your mind, trained your mind, right, to be stubborn, to be strong, to be fearless. So if you are not doing it on day-to-day basis, so that is when will you train your mind, to be fearless, right? When you are facing uncertainty every moment of your life. The more uncertain moments you face, the more unexpected situations you face on day-to-day basis, weekly basis. So that is when you become tough, right? In the last orientation and before that also, my core message for this examination for you people is that you have to become very tough. The core. So we all have our core in our personality. The core of our personality is something related to the mind itself, right? This examination, what I have, this might seem unexpected message or silly message, I don't know. So what I have realized is that the more tough you are, the more strong your core of your mind, the easy to crack this examination, right? It's very easy to crack this examination if you are going to be very, very tough. So tough in the sense, this is what. So you are not afraid of failing, you are not afraid of your low scores, you are not afraid of coming and meeting me, coming and meeting your mentor, coming and meeting your teacher. You are not at all afraid, you are not at all scared. So you have written a very poor answer, you know it, that you have written a very bad answer, but even then you want to come and show it to your teacher. That takes courage, right? That takes courage because you are not afraid of criticism, you are not afraid of maybe in extreme cases insult also, right? So what you want to gain is a positive feedback, that from that bad answer to good answer, how you can improve. And this point again I am reiterating, again I am repeating, very few people come and do this, right? Out of this 200 people, right, only 3% of people will come regularly and show their answers and they meet their mentors. So this has been the experience, despite we forcing you, mentors actually tell you people, there are Telegram channels, they repeatedly keep telling you, and in some cases they call also and tell you, and we conduct Zoom sessions also with their mentees. We keep telling, anything you have written, any doubt you have, please come and approach us. Now you see that, you have seen this feature at Insights IAS as one of the good features and you have joined it, many of you, right? But unfortunately, the same thinking won't be there right now. So before joining, you wanted to make use of it. You felt, okay, they have this strong feature called mentorship, which we definitely have, very professional, and right, and very few people come and meet them, right. And again, as part of my experience, what I noticed is that, so I told you 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, right. The one individual who meets their mentor or me the more number of times in these 2 to 4 years, they have the highest chance of cracking this examination. And why are you coming and meeting? Is not to discuss any personal stuff, not to discuss anything unrelated to preparation. Everything is related to preparation. So you might have written essay, you might want to come and tell me, how to improve it. You might be struggling to, have a good timetable. You might be struggling to strategize your preparation, balance things between optional, GS, right, preliminary preparation, and so many things. This exam has so many factors. So anywhere you are struggling with, anywhere you are dealing with a problem, the first source of contact, the first contact should be us, our faculties, mentors, or myself, anybody in the institution. Never approach your friend, never approach your seniors, right. Approach them later. So once you have clarified things with us, we are more experienced than somebody who has written 4 mains in your reading room, or somebody who might be given. You will find lots of people in our reading rooms who have given multiple mains, who have given interviews. So they are around you, so many people. Some who are in services, they are also sitting and reading in these reading rooms. So it's okay to talk to them, right. So it's okay to see their answers, because definitely they are far better than you. It's okay to read their essays. But when it comes to guidance, right, so please come to us and talk to us. And what are the reasons that that stop you from meeting us? Some of you are introvert, right. You have, in your college days, you have never met your teachers, professors. How many of you have done that? Right. ಯಾವ college? Okay. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ರು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ? 60. So out of 60, how many would have met your teacher regularly? 10. So then your college is very good college. 10 is a big number actually, right? So what about others? You? What about you? Yeah. Okay, very good. You used to interact. Very good. You are going to be topper. So what about others? Any engineering college? Your college? You used to interact. Good. So what about others? So I see more number of boys than girls in this class. Like, it is unusual. Usually it is more girls, right? So remember this particular advice. This is very important. The reason I am telling, see, you might have seen some rank, like people like Avinash, Jaydev, before then Akshay Simha, right? So these were the Karnataka toppers for last 3 years. Karnataka toppers means theirs was the highest rank among the people who cracked from Karnataka, right? They were all from OGP classes. And one common feature between them is they used to meet me and their mentor regularly, right? And they used to meet, again, in addition to them, there are few more people. They went till interview, they have written mains, and eventually this year or next year, they are going to crack this examination. But when I see them, so the only desire, the only, kind of my own ambition, when I see them, and when new batch comes, I keep craving, craving, what do you mean by craving? Desiring, seeking, craving for such kind of candidates among you people, right? So they might have been brilliant also in terms of academics and other things, but I see equally brilliant people among you people who can actually go on to crack this examination, but somehow something prevents you from making use of us, making use of the institution. So I keep telling myself, if I get Jaydev or Akshay Simha or Avinash kind of students, you give me 100 students, I can give you minimum 50 ranks, right, in one attempt. So in another second or third attempt it can be, and everyone will also go on to crack this examination, right. So it is not just about gaining as much as knowledge, remembering stuff, right. This exam is not about just reading all your standard textbooks multiple times, gaining knowledge. It is the smartness to apply that knowledge, ability to apply that knowledge, which differentiates from unsuccessful to successful. And luckily, right, so here our focus is always on the application part, right. So our teachers will not merely repeat stuff from textbooks, right. They will constantly push you towards writing answers, and within the class there is always a mains dimension also. There is analytical part within the classes. It is not like merely reproduction of facts, right. So they are updated and they will teach you in a way that will make you think also. When you think, that is when you start applying your knowledge. And I am doing this mock interviews for UPSC. Now the interviews are going on. They started on which date? January 30. So this year interview started on January 30 and they are going to end around May 20, I think. So this year it's a long process because of less number of UPSC members. There are around 6 members, around 3 to 4 members are taking interviews. Earlier 9 panels used to take real interviews, which means daily 80 to 90 candidates. So now they are taking interviews for only 30 to 40 candidates. So when I am doing these mock interviews, so they have already reached the interview stage. They have cracked prelims, they have cracked mains, some of them multiple times. And even then when they have reached interview, there also the ratio of students who can actually think and answer. Here for example, has anyone written any answers till now? Did you ever try to write an answer for any previous year question? How much time it takes to write 150 word answer and 250 word answer? In the mains examination you have 20 questions. You know that, right? There are 4 general studies papers. So in each paper there are 20 questions. So out of 20 questions there are 10 150 word questions and 10 250 word questions. So in 3 hours you have to answer these 20 questions. So 150 word question we recommend ideally to answer within the 7 minutes, right. So you have to write 150 word means 1.5 pages, right, 2 sides, 1.5 sides. And to write 250 we recommend around 10 to 11 minutes. So within the 11 minutes you have to write 2.5 sides or 3 sides for 250 words. So now in the interview the same question, right, which can be as broad as 250 word question, right, you will have only 30 to 40 seconds, right. In mains you have 10 to 11 minutes to brainstorm, think and prepare your answer, but in the interview you will have maximum 1 minute to orally tell the answer, right. Now how can you do it? It cannot be done merely memorizing stuff. The most of the questions in the interview are analytical, open-ended, application oriented, right. So for that we need to think a lot. If you have thought about that question before going to interview, right, if you have taken half an hour out of your busy schedule of 10 to 12 hours, and if you have thought about such questions, such situations beforehand, it becomes easy to answer in the real interview, right. Now this very part is missing in the whole process, right. So when we are taking class, when we make you think, right, when we are giving you daily questions, weekly tests, right, weekly mains test, weekly prelims test, and then once in 15 days and once in 30 days, these are all intended to improve that thinking ability, right. And you have to see this examination as one unit, not in parts, right. Not like don't think that, never underestimate you, never be lesser ambitious. Don't tell yourself that in 24 let me just clear prelims and tell my parents that I can do at least this much. Never think like that. So 24 attempt should be attempt to crack this examination with a good rank. And I am not telling you to motivate, and I honestly believe that you are in the right place. If you can really make use of everything that is available here, in one attempt you can definitely crack this examination, right? You have every resources, you have very good teachers, you have mentors, you have like hundreds and thousands of questions to write answers, to show them again and again, right? And we have a system of open door policy, that you can come anytime, you can talk to anyone in the institution without getting scolded by anyone, right? So we are very encouraging when it comes to students. So whether it is in Delhi branch or here, so in Delhi also there is this culture, little arrogant culture, so that teachers, you will never be able to meet them. So most of you have taken a right decision in a way that it is very rare to go and sit with a teacher and interact with them in Delhi, and there is no mentorship, strong mentorship. So like I have seen in the big institutions that there are mentors, you have to book them and go. Like here what we do is that for 40-50 students we give you a mentor, right? So there is a guaranteed feedback system, and once you start meeting a mentor regularly, let's say 4 or 5 times, then it becomes a habit, so you will establish a very professional relationship with them. So you will be able to talk to them on call, without getting an appointment. So through messages also you can get the doubt. Again, most of them are offline, you can meet them, right? So this process where the focus is on, one, making you think, apply your knowledge, secondly refining it through regular interactions, right? If you can really make use of it, so 24 attempt is surely achievable, right? And for that you have to go reformation from within you, right? Because every individual sitting here is a different individual, right? You have your own unique traits and you have your own shortcomings, loopholes, right? And I am sure all of you are aware of them. Some of you may be like lazy, right? So you are ambitious in your mind but super lazy, right? So I think some of you dragged yourself to the class today, knowing that somehow I'll come and attend. So how many hours it takes to crack this examination? So what are the videos that you have watched, and what are the toppers advices that you have heard? What is there in your mind? Like what do you think? How many hours you need to give? Every day? 8 hours every day. Okay. 4 hours. You are the lazy person I was telling. No, don't mind, I'm just kidding. Okay. 4 hours, 8 hours, then 12 hours. Okay. Is there any one soul in this room, right? So during your graduation days who has read at least 6 hours continuously throughout your 3 or 4 years? Any one individual, any one soul? No one here. So during 3 years, again 2 years of COVID, like you are all 2 years of COVID made you enjoy your life even more. Better than you wanted, I think. So you missed all those college days, college fests, all those the inner desires during college days, right? So you missed your crushes, you missed your partners. So that has affected you. But you had plenty of time, at home, even during COVID time, right? When you didn't have to go out. So I think the most of the classes were online. So all of you have suffered because of COVID, right? Like 1 or 2 years during graduation. Yeah. So now you see, you imagine now, all of you, I am using the word all of you, have never sat for 6 hours straight, even for 10 days or 20 days, forget about 4 years, right? Now, this is going to be a big shock. See, there needs to be a big internal change within you, right? To reorient yourself, right? To transform your mindset, to push yourself to start doing this. That within class you are going to spend sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 5 hours. After class you need to spend minimum 8 hours, right? Minimum 8 hours every day for next 700 days. 700 days, right, till you write your mains. So, are you willing to do this? How many of you are willing to do this? Okay. You remember that you had raised this hand, in this class. Will you remember? Otherwise, shame. Right, you had raised your hand to this question, affirmative, saying that, you would spend these many hours. So, which means minimum 10 hours every day preparing for this examination for next 1.5 to 2 years, right? And having made the decision now, of course, you had made the decision before coming here also. Now, how many of you are going to stick by that decision, right? So, that is what will make the difference. And you will notice, right, sometimes you will fail, sometimes even when you are very much disciplined, right. Some of you may be studying from home, there is parents' vigil, some of you are internally driven, but you cannot do it regularly, right. And I believe at least once or twice in a week you need to take a break. It is not like, every day you have to do it, right. So, that was just a, exaggerated statement, like 700 days you have to do it. But at least weekly once or twice you need to, you should take a break. So, read, a novel or, watch a documentary, go for a good movie, right. Maybe go for a trekking and maybe nearby places you can visit, half day you can do something like that. But again, you should always come back rejuvenated, right, more reinvigorated, more motivated to come back and to do things more intensely, right. The thing is, see, this orientation I can go on talking about syllabus, I can talk about other things which are already available. But this, what I have noticed is very few people keep telling you, right. And this has to be told to you repeatedly, because it has to, see, why I focus on this is, as I told you, I am aware of where you come from and what you have been through, and having invested nearly 1 lakh rupees, right. Now, what is the point of investing that much money? What is the point of taking risks and coming here? What is the point of spending 1 or 2 years without going for a job, right? So, mere daydreaming, mere, telling others that I am doing this and not actually doing this will waste 2 to 3 years of important part of your life, right? And especially when you are sitting in this classroom, like inside IAS classroom, you should not be wasting your time. And I am telling this with so much confidence, right. So, having personally guided, from 2014 to, and that it is because of Insights, this area has become UPSC hub. Earlier, before Insights, there used to be nothing like for UPSC here, and that started mainly because of, not because of advertising or, we don't spend money like, the big tech companies. You haven't come here because of advertisement, right. So, we have come because of the result, and the results are possible when you become a better person, when you become ready. So, in management or in self-help books, there is a word, coachable, right. You should be coachable. We are coach here, but for you to succeed, for us to help you succeed, you have to be coachable. Being coachable means being receptive to our criticism, our feedback, and ability to adapt, implement them as fast as possible, right. If you show that flexibility, if you show that coachability, the more frequently, the more willingly you adapt them and you transform, the easy it becomes to crack this examination. And whenever I am telling this, you look at the risk I am taking, right. Basically what I am telling you is to make use of the resources, which means we have to be dedicated. I cannot take a step back from this, right. I have to provide you mentorship, I have to provide you tests regularly, right. So, having created this expectation, having this dialogue, where I am trying to change your mind to use these, we have to be ready, right. We will do it, we are doing it. So, which means it is a two-way process. So how many of you have read the syllabus? Okay. What about others? Which syllabus you have read? So how many papers are there? Huh? Okay, I didn't ask prelims or mains. Okay, good. So in mains how many papers? 9 papers. So what are these 9 papers about? GS?
1, 2, 3, 4 essay, language 2 papers and optional.
Okay, good. So how many of you think that optional should be removed? You are not yet started, I am just asking a very advanced question here. Right. So there is a talk going on. Don't believe in it. Right. So UPSC is not going to remove optional at least for next 2 to 3 years. Right. So now like Uttar Pradesh Public Service Commission removed optional and it has given a new syllabus. And most of the states have done away with optional, even Karnataka, KPSC there is no optional, only GS papers are there. Now the UPSC is the only remaining body, I think, except 1 or 2 states where optional subject is still part of the examination. So they may remove maybe after 2 to 3 years, again which is not sure, it hasn't given hint. So if somebody tells you that optional might be removed, so don't join optional or don't study optional, don't do that mistake, right. So you have to start optional immediately and have a target of completing optional by August or September, right. So to complete any optional 6 months is required. So start with any optional, but again any optional, when I say, so there are 4 to 5 optionals which are performing very well. The top one is political science, second one is sociology, third one is anthropology, fourth, so it is a mix of literature, geography, public administration, right, and subjects like mathematics also. And after that other subjects like psychology, philosophy, they come. So doesn't matter which background you come from, right. So try to go with the trend, plus you should have interest in the optional also. So my recommendation is one of these 4 optionals, right, political science, sociology, anthropology, literature, after that geography, public administration, right. And like don't go for like philosophy, psychology, history, botany, zoology. Botany, zoology, if you have done the masters, if you have done MSc in botany, MSc in zoology, and if you have forest service also in your mind, you can go with it, right. But never chemistry, physics, even if you are from IIT, NIT, or you might have done masters also. They are very difficult subject. And never civil, electrical and mechanical, even if you have done MTech in them. So medical science, provided you were really good during your graduation, that you took the subject seriously, you had studied the subject passionately, your concepts are very strong, application part is also very strong, then you can go with the medical science optional. Similarly, law optional. So if you have done 5-year law, during law graduation, if you had taken the subject very seriously, right, then you can go with law optional. The simple logic here is that when you are studying for 1250 marks, GS plus essay paper, plus in prelims, GS is the dominant. There is no optional, right. So most of it is biased towards the GS. So your GS time should not be eaten or taken up by the optional subject. So which means if you haven't done well in your graduation, but you know that you feel looking at law paper easy, and if you go with law, it will take lots of time, right, if you haven't done well in the graduation. Similarly, all the professional courses. So mechanical, civil, we are not against it. You should be very good in the subjects. If you are very good, which means the time you are going to put now is going to be very less, and you don't need guidance, in the sense you don't need coaching for these subjects, then you should go with them. But whereas other subjects, doesn't matter which background, like for example Nandini Kyar, she is a BE civil engineering from Ramaya, she went with Kannada literature, right. Avinash and Jaydev, they went with the law optional, right. And Akshay Simai, he was MSc in Biological Sciences from the ISER, right. So he went with the Kannada literature. So they had passion for Kannada literature, and there is one DK Balaji, he had BCom, he went with the Kannada literature, right. So it is about the passion for literature which got them very good marks. So if you are leaning towards Kannada literature, so then you must be very good with the literature. You should not write answers. It can be for other literature also, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam. So now the expectation is that you write your answers matching the quality that is there in the textbook, right? Sahityika Bhashe, so what do we say? It should not be Adu Bhashe. It should not be artificial. The way you write should be very standard. The standard use of vocabulary in the right context, in the right manner will get you very good marks. So that can happen only, the people who have scored highest marks in Kannada literature are those people. So again, fortunately they have been from our institutions. So they were really passionate about literature. Even while speaking, they would speak in Shuddha Kannada, right? Shuddha Kannada, ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ. So ಆ ಥರ ಪ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಇದ್ದಂಥವ್ರು. ಪ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ? ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ಹಾಳಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ. So yeah, coming to other optionals, right? Political science, sociology. Another rule, don't see that application, I mean the overlapping with the mains GS. Some people see that this, I'll go with sociology, it has overlapping with the GS papers. I'll go with geography because it has overlapping with the GS. That should not be the parameter, right? As part of GS, anyway you will have to read every subject. At least for prelims you have to read. Mains also you have to read. But it is mostly for 30 to 50 marks as part of GS. And again it will be more generic than what you are going to write in the optional. So don't see that by taking public administration you will have advantage in the paper 2 or in ethics, not like that. Optional should be treated as a separate subject, and when we say optional, it is a very specialized subject. If you have to gain deeper understanding, you have to compulsorily read standard textbooks in addition to classes and coaching notes. You have to make your own notes for every optional subject. So going by that logic, right, these optionals will consume less time and they are more interesting. They will make you understand the world more better than reading like other mechanical optionals like professional subjects. For example, sociology will open your mind to the society in general. It gets you a deeper understanding of the society. And people with political science, sociology and law optional do well in the essay papers, right? This has been my observation, right? Even Kannada literature people do well in the essay paper because you read literary criticism as part of your literature, and you are also exposed to little bit of English literature also because that had influence on the Kannada literature. So you have advantage, but again that should not be the parameter. So be careful in your optional selection because it can waste your 3 years of preparation. Wrong optional can waste 3 years of your preparation, right? How? So let us assume that you have selected the mechanical engineering, right? You are good in mechanical. So now 1 year you have prepared, you have taken coaching, invested everything. So in 24 mains you write with the mechanical engineering. So by then it is 2 years, right? And mechanical engineering marks you will come to know. Let us say you don't clear the mains, and its marks you will come to know 1 month before or 5 days before the 25 prelims. So you see the marks card and then realize that you have scored very poorly in mechanical engineering despite you thinking you have done well, right? So there is only 5 days for your next prelims in 25, right? What will you do? And you have again applied for the examination with the mechanical engineering for 25 examination. So what will you do in that moment? You will mostly skip the attempt, right? Because even if you clear prelims, you will have only 2.5 to 3 months. you might have already prepared for mechanical before prelims, assuming that you might not have done well, but it's a scary moment. So again you are looking at the 26 examination, right? So 24, 25, 26 is gone, right? Now if you make a right decision now and give your attempt in 24 with correct optional, so there is a high probability that even if you don't crack mains, you can continue with the same optional. Like you might be, like what is the highest marks toppers are getting in optional nowadays? Any idea? How much? 400. Good. So it is in the range of like 260 to 290. So you see 260 to 290 people in top 100. Earlier it used to be like 340, 350 certain optional. Anthropology, there is a girl Lakshmi, she got rank 45, I think she scored nearly 365 in 2017 exam, right? In anthropology, that was unimaginable. So and then the score started coming down. Now if we can get 270 to 280 in any optional, that is a top score. So they are trying to create level playing field in the optional subjects. So there is a scaling where now what we see is that, let us say mathematics, if 100 people have written mathematics, that's a big number. In mains, you will see 1 or 2 people crossing 300 plus now. Even if they claim they have done, attempted for 400, 450 out of 500. So others marks are in the range of 200 to 290, the good scores 260 to 290. Similarly, law optional, like Avinash, going by the previous year. When Avinash wrote, the previous year the highest was I think 298 or something, law optional. So many people got 280 to 290. So based on that, when he wrote, he really did well in the law optional. We were expecting his score to be around 280 to 290, right? So I think he ended up with 259, law optional. So if his score was 290, his would be in top 5 rank. So top 3, like I think his rank would have been the 3rd rank, right? So there is nothing wrong. Even then he ended up with 259 without putting much effort in the law optional because he had done well in the law optional. Now the point here is that the advantage that people used to have earlier, that by taking one optional you can have big advantage, is gone now, right? So which means you go with that optional which takes minimum effort, which can get you around 260 to 290 marks. Any optional that can get, and these are the optionals, the ones I mentioned are frequently getting that kind of scores. And for some reasons people with history has done decently well, but my suggestion is don't go with it. History, psychology, philosophy, strictly no, right? So you might have done MA in philosophy or something, but even then don't go with that option. You being freshers, make a correct decision, right? So with respect to optional, things are clear? Does anybody has any doubt? Yes? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ? Okay, economics. Correct. Then you go with economics. Sit down, I got your point. Economics I didn't mention, but economics is also a good optional, right? Provided it comes in the bracket of geography, PubBad, economics. So you have done MA economics, and in some cases there is MSc economics also, right? Now with respect to economics, what I heard is that there is something called econometrics. So that guidance is not available, and if you have guidance to that particular subject, then you can go with economics, right? Any other doubts? Geography is good. See, in geography, when it comes to geography, why people score low marks? 2 reasons. most of them don't read the standard textbooks. Second most important reason, they lack creativity, right? You are not good in diagrams, you are not good in maps, you are not good in creating maps, creating diagrams. So every geography answer must have at least 2 to 3 diagrams, right? So what I see is that you people don't draw good diagrams in the first place, and they don't write diagrams. And secondly, the concepts are shaky. You don't read the standard textbooks, so you go with the coaching notes. Now what they expect is, in paper 1, this is what the standard explanation of the concept plus the representation, proper representation through good diagrams. In second paper, it's application part. So most of the paper 2 are the application, whether it is literature, economics, geography, polity, sociology. So there will be an Indian component to it and its application. In paper 1 you read the theory, in paper 2 you apply that theory. So those who are good with critical thinking, analytical thinking, right? So they score very good marks in the paper 2, right? So with respect to optional, we will do different sessions, and there are optional classes going on. Before deciding, you can sit in one optional classes, right? If you have a dilemma between political science and sociology, so you sit 2-3 classes in political science, 2-3 classes in the sociology also, and then you can speak to teachers, and then you can decide, right? And another criteria is you can read the NCERT textbooks of these respective subjects and see where your liking is out of these 2, and then previous year questions and the syllabus. So now coming back to this whole preparation, right? So first memorize the syllabus, prelims to interview. There is a syllabus for interview also, right? In the notification document which is there, you take a printout of it. In your bags, wherever you go, there must be 2 sources all the time. One, a syllabus copy. Second one, previous year question papers. Last 25 years question paper of prelims, and last 2013 onwards mains papers, which means like 10 years mains papers. These 2 documents must always be there in your bag. Ensure that when you go back after the class, you take a printout of these 2 things. And there is a question bank of last 25 years available, various publication. There is one by Disha publication, and we are also coming up with our own, maybe in another 1 or 2 months. For now you can buy that particular. So keep them, and every day at least spend half an hour, 1 hour looking at them, right? The syllabus is your guide, and there is not a single question that comes out of the syllabus, right? In this examination, not a single question comes out of the syllabus. It is, even if it looks like out of the syllabus, it is always indirectly linked with the some part of the syllabus. So to have that intelligence, to see that how this question is linked with the syllabus, you have to not only memorize the broad framework of the syllabus, but also its minute parts, right? Have you ever visited our website insightsoniindia.com? Internet idea idralli? Internet idea? So there is something called Instapedia on our website. Have you seen it? Open browser. So Instapedia, what we have created is a content for each and every subtopic, right? So it is as good as anything that you can find in the market. I am not asking you to stick to that Instapedia. The reason that Instapedia is important, all of you can see, no? For example, for all these, general studies 4 papers. So we have created a repository of content for every topic. So for example, when you say read more, you will have different topics. Now let's say Indian heritage and culture. Now this part. So the topic in your mains says that art and culture from ancient to modern times. It doesn't give you, specific topics, right? What to study under art and culture. So now what we have done is that, so we have created, like hundreds of subtopics, within temple architecture, what are the different, right? Sculptures, Gupta sculpture. So, like again, if there is a Buddhism, then there is a content on Buddhism, tables. Right. So like these are different mudras, which are asked in the questions. So we have linked with the previous year questions. Now why I am showing is that the subtopics which are there under each subject are more important. So they should be imprinted in your mind, and these subtopics are created based on the last 25-year UPSC question papers. So we studied like which are the different questions that were asked from the Buddhism. So within Buddhism we have created various subparts, and for each part we have given a content here. So this should not be your primary source. As a reference you can study this, but anyway our teachers are going to give you notes on each and every topic in the classroom itself, which you should note down in the class. Now the very idea of showing is this: when you are memorizing, when you are remembering syllabus, keep looking at Instapedia to see which are all the subparts of the syllabus, so that you can create your own syllabus copy, right? In a notebook you can write art and culture, within that you can note down all the subtopics, right? And whenever you come across that topic, right, whether when you are reading newspaper, whenever you are watching a documentary, or whenever you are hearing a lecture or discussion something, that will activate you, that will tell you that this is an important topic, and that is how you narrow down the reading newspaper. Once the syllabus is imprinted in your mind, you will know exactly what to leave out and what to study in the newspaper. So syllabus is your ultimate guide. So if you don't remember the syllabus, you will tend to read each and every article thinking that everything is important. Everything in the newspaper is not important, right? What is the difference between hard work and smart work? So if I ask a question, what kind of hard work one needs to do, people always answer me, we need to be smart and we need to do smart work, right? So what is the definition of smart work? All of you are looking very smart. Can someone answer it? Smart. What is smart preparation? You might have done that, during your graduation.
Work which is very efficient and also little time consuming. It shouldn't
Good.
consume more time. That is
Very good.
minimum time with maximum output.
Very good. There is one more dimension in addition to what you have said. What you have said is absolutely right. So they said that it should consume less amount of time. The task you are doing should save you more amount of time for other works, right? So more efficient use of time. So you need to be very smart in the sense that you should know how to save time in this preparation. The one who is smart in this regard is the quickest to crack this exam. Second meaning of being smart is optimum utilization of the resources, right? That you know one resource is valuable or invaluable, right? Invaluable is more valuable than invaluable is more valuable. So you know that one resource is invaluable, and you are smart enough to make use of the same resource again and again to its maximum benefit. That is also smart work. So most of the people, they know that ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಗಾದೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಂದೆ ಅದೇನೋ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಊರೆಲ್ಲ ಹುಡ್ಕಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಕೊಂಕಣ ಸುತ್ತಿ ಮೈಲಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದೊಂದು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಂದೆನೆ ಬಂಗಾರ ಏನೋ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದೇನೋ ಅಂಗೈಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಗೈಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅಂಗೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಊರೆಲ್ಲ ತುಪ್ಪನೋ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆನೋ ಹುಡ್ಕಾಡಿದ್ರಂತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಆಸ್ಪಿರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಡೂ. ಸೊ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯಬಲ್ ವಿತಿನ್ ಯುವರ್ ವಿಸಿನಿಟಿ, ವಿತಿನ್ ಯು, right, within your reach. But what most of the people do is that they keep searching, right. So most of us have the tendency, that is a very wrong tendency. So understand that, you know, once you are here, you have good resources available here and try to make use of them again and again. And now don't get carried away because so many people have so many opinions, so many institutions come with so many, you know, flashy advertisements, attractive advertisements. You don't have to. So once you are here, make use of it maximum number of times, right. For example, in the course of next 2 years, you can come with at least 20 to 30 essay for evaluation from my side itself, right. So I will be available, you know, like maybe like 20 times, 30 times for you to evaluate your essay during the course of next 1.5 years, right. So if you just come once and show and then vanish, so you might be satisfied, but you will never know the competition, right. That when so many people are coming and showing, similarly when you go to mentor, hundreds of people may be coming and showing them answers, and that year when hundreds of people are coming and showing answer, a mentor knows that there are few individuals who are writing the most brilliant answers among these 100 people, right. When you go regularly, the feedback which we give is always relative to those best answers or best essays, right. So for example, if I was reading Avinash essay as the good essays, so if somebody comes with the average essay, I will tell, see, in the same year somebody who is going to write examination with you is writing an essay where I am giving him 75 marks. Now you are at the 50 marks. So now 50 to 75, this is what you need to do, right. So when you come with another essay next time, you would have improved by 5 marks or maybe at the same position. When you come with another essay, you will gradually show an improvement, right. So this is, in the beginning itself I conveyed it. So this is very important. So go for the smart work, not room alli bachchikondu like, you know, 10 to 12 hours just writing and reading. You know why? There are many reasons why people fail, and I have tweeted about this also, that most of the people in this examination fail because they fail to practice, right. This practice component is thoroughly missing. You know what do I mean by practice here? Because you come with our education system which is mostly oriented towards feeding you stuff, right. They give you notes and tell you, you know, read these notes. It will be the same in the examination, and they will ask you to write answers similar to what is there in their notes or textbook. If you write even slightly differently, if you apply your own mind, then there is a punishment. So here don't repeat the same mistake, you know, just reading Lakshmikant 6 times won't give you good marks in prelims, right. So even you might have memorized entire Lakshmikant, the Indian polity, you know every article of the constitution, right, every case law and the stuff in the Lakshmikant, but that will never guarantee you that out of 10 polity questions you are going to 10 out of 10, right. It will be still like 5 to 6 only, because the real questions are more of application oriented. They test your thinking ability. So now, to gain that advantage, to gain that ability, in addition to reading Lakshmikant or any NCERT book 3 to 4 times, you should minimum solve 2 to 3,000 questions per subject, MCQs, by the time you reach prelims, right. So that is the practice component I am talking about, right. So how many questions per subject? So Indian polity, minimum 2,000 questions you must solve. So previous year itself there are 500 to 600 questions, UPSC, last 25 years, polity questions. So in addition to that, our own website has so many questions. So have you seen the quiz initiative? Huh? There is something called a static quiz. Okay. So the static quiz, what we give is that every year we give something called Mission 22, Mission 23. So we give 1 year long timetable. So aligned to that, every day we post 5 static questions. So this has been there nearly, I think, 5 years. So which means every day, nearly 300 days, 5 questions. So 1500 questions in 1 year, right? So 5 year means at least 6 to 7,000 static questions that are there in the website, and they are available, subject wise also. So for example, this is the January compilation of polity, geography, economy, art and culture, history, environment. So there are polity questions with explanation. So for every question there is explanation. So there are 10 questions in January compilations of polity, right? So you can go to website, in the download section, you can download these PDFs, right? So as and when your subject is going on, so let us say we start with the polity or geography for you. Let us say we are starting with the geography class. So you can go to this download section, download last 2 to 3 years compilations, solve each and every geography question, right? Plus previous year geography question. So it takes around 40 days to complete geography, 35 to 40 days. So during the course of 35 to 40 days, have a target of 2000 geography MCQs. This is something to be done from your side. This is what I was talking about, the practice component. The one who does this now itself, I can assure you blindly 120 plus in prelims is easily scoreable. So you imagine, you are in the month of March. So between March to April, you are doing 2000 questions of geography. It is doable, right? Every day you pick up 50 to 60 questions. Worst case, even if you do 1000 questions also, it is a great achievement, right? So if you do this before prelims, you will have like 4 to 5 months to again revise them, right? Maybe go for newer questions also. And as part of test series, we will also be giving you more number of questions. For example, every week there will be 50 MCQs on geography, right? And at the end of the geography, there is 100 question full length. And for all OGP students, we are going to give you subject wise prelim test series, and it will have around 4 to 5 full length geography papers also. So that is what I am telling about. There is a focus on the application and practice part. If you make use of all these questions, keep solving them again and again, you will never have tension in prelims. And if you do it for every subject, step by step, right? So this month you are doing for geography, next month whatever subject we do, if you do this for all the subject, by the time you reach December, you will be in a position to score 100 plus in full length prelims mock test. By then geography, polity, economy, environment, modern history, science and tech, so the important subjects for prelims would have been covered, economics, right? So if you do these many questions every month, by the time you come in the December or January, you will be in a 100 plus category in prelims scores, full length test. That is a huge achievement, because even after spending 3-4 years, I have seen students struggling with scoring 70 to 80 marks in full length prelims exams. So especially even in the month of March and April, there are people struggling to improve the scores. So that is what I meant by you are in the right place, right? And when you are solving these questions, you can go to teacher and ask, why this answer is correct, right? You may be thinking another answer is correct. So you can ask your doubts, you can clarify your doubts, right? And when you go with questions, when you meet your mentors, when you solve your doubts, they will remain with you. Those discussions, those answers, the more you do, the more closer you get to the success. So this is with respect to prelims, right? There is static quiz and there is daily current affair quiz. So we have 3 current affair initiatives. One is current affair quiz, one is QUED, another one is current affairs RTM. QUED means questions from editorials. So daily 5 questions from that day's editorials we post, and then 5 questions from that day current affairs, 10 questions, and another 10 questions from the previous day's current affairs. So every day 20 current affair questions. So which means in a month nearly 500 current affair questions. So usually it is advisable that if you are giving 24 examination, that you should be aware of current affairs of minimum 1.5 years before the prelims. So from this January onward, you should be thoroughly updated with the current affair questions. So January to December 23, you will have 6,000 current affair questions, right? Most of the people take the 6,000 questions and try to do in the month of January or February, right? Again, don't do that mistake. Spend just 1 hour every day, these 20 questions, solve every day, right? And again you will have to revise the same for the weekly test and then for the monthly test. So when we say monthly full length geography test or something, there will be some current affair questions also, right? So this quiz, 20 questions if you do every day, and this is the best source for current affairs, right? So don't go after current affairs by looking at the length of current affairs the websites post. This is the most interesting and more productive way of remembering the current affairs. So you read your newspaper for let's say half an hour, 1 hour, and then when you take up these questions, when you solve a question and through that if you remember current affairs, you tend to remember this for the long term, right? So in the 100 questions in prelims, nearly 25 to 30 questions are current affair questions, right? So before prelims, if you solve 5 to 6,000 these current affair questions, it is dead easy to get at least 20 of them right out of these 6,000 questions. So they would have covered directly or indirectly 6,000 questions, because nothing can come out of the current affairs, right? I am not saying the questions will be repeated, but in some different way we would have definitely covered. And if you familiarize with respect to these kind of questions, both static and current affairs, from the very beginning itself, right? So then the elimination in prelims becomes very easy. So these are the skills. If you learn from very beginning, it becomes easy in the end. If you try to learn them in the end, right, you will take equally more amount of time. So there is a classic problem like 50-50 elimination problem in most of the prelims questions. Most of them who write prelims every time, they come and tell. So I was stuck with around 20 to 30 questions where this 50-50 dilemma was there. So I was unsure about which one to eliminate out of these two options, right? So see, it is your first class, I am aware, but I am telling this in the very beginning instead of few months before prelims, so that you become that person, right? So I am hopeful that at least 20 students in this class will take everything seriously, because I want to increase that 3% to minimum 5% or like 10%. Unfortunately, that don't feel bad, right? Unfortunately, that is the situation. We come here, we repeat very politely, very humbly, right, without scolding you, without insulting you, right, in a as polite manner as possible. We keep repeating these, but most of the jets are made up of the lead material. The nuclear plants are protected with the lead shield, right? Nothing goes out or nothing gets into. That happens in this classroom in these 2 to 3 hours, but when you go out, same, you are back to your old self. Very few people transform themselves and walk out. So which I am counting to be 10 in this session. And it is those people who has the highest success rate, possibility of cracking this exam. But if everybody can change and walk out and do this, so what I am talking is not motivation here now. The first half an hour was something related to motivation, that is up to you. So this is something practical and doable thing. Doing questions every day, right, as part of the course. If 10 people, any 10 people in this classroom do it, I can give in writing that within 2 years I'll make you a topper, IAS, IPS officers, right. It is that easy to crack this examination, right. Now to do this, you have to be away from distractions, you have to be away from self-doubts, right. That is what the toughness constitutes of. So your friend wants to drag you to something, no, I will do quiz and then only I will walk out. I will do these 10 questions, I will learn in and out, and then only I will go and take a break. So ability to say no to distractions leads you to success, right. Can you say no to such kind of things? You have to say. You are under the compulsion, do you know that? You are not sitting as a charity here, free, right. You have paid the fees, you have created expectation within your parents, right. So there is a contract now, invisible contract, right. You have signed a contract. So it is not a free ride here, you don't take it for granted that you have come here, whether I clear or not, I'll let me end up with some government job. It is not like that, right. There is an invisible contract. You are obligated, it's obligatory now. It's an obligation on you. So take this seriously. And again, what does it require? It doesn't require extraordinary intelligence to do these things. You are all graduates, postgraduates. All it requires is a calm mind, a calm place, and your ability to sit undistracted. Keep away your distractions, all these social media. You don't have to be on social media, right. Twitter is one option which you can use, but again that is also not required. Uninstall your Instagram, uninstall your WhatsApp, uninstall Snapchat, uninstall what are the other apps? Facebook I don't think people use anymore. Do you use? Most of you don't use Facebook. It is gone. So there is another the dating apps you are using. What is that? What? Dating app name? Nobody knows here. No, I won't judge you. You tell me. Right? No, I don't know. So out of them you remove them. Right? Again, it doesn't mean that you have to be like ascetic. What is ascetic? Renouncing everything and doing like dhyana. Not like that. As I told you, you can take break now and then. There are healthy habits. You can read books, so which I will briefly talk about. So you have to develop hobbies and interests. I will come to that part, right? So whatever so far I have told you, does it make sense? Did you understand? Did you make a hole and let it get inside? Will it stay within you? One beauty of my session is that nobody will note down single word of what I tell. Yes, I have noticed in every session. Why? Thanks to our education system. If I am giving you data, facts, you will note down. If I tell you, how plate tectonics work, if I start writing diagram and if I start explaining, 100% you will note down. So these things, you won't note down, but of course you are mentally noting down, I hope, right? You won't write it down because from class nursery to your graduation, nobody gives importance to moral education or this kind of guidance, right? It is not there, you don't think it is important, so that you can note down, make a list of summary of whatever we discussed in the class, stick it somewhere on your wall, keep looking at it. So you don't, because this is another orientation session, So maybe it will be there on YouTube, maybe I will watch another time, which will not do, right? Right. So that is how the screwed up our education system. So, but within that, that is why I have faith that there are few individuals who will actually, I will see, because they will come with an essay and they will go with an answer to their mentors, and from mentors I will hear that, so from this batch there are 5 students who come regularly, right? So if we push them hard, we can definitely put them in top 100, some cases top 10. So we keep discussing this, right? And can you be one among that individual, right? Will you be? You have to be. As I said, it is an obligation. And to do that, you have to feel responsible in every cell of your body. It is a big responsibility, right? You have taken up on yourself. So people ask, how can I not procrastinate? Procrastination is pushing things towards future. Like, let me do tomorrow. Like today, let me take a break, or let me do something else. Tomorrow, I will do. So you are halfway of something, or you might have begun with something, and then you will tell, let me do it some other time, right? So how do you avoid yourself postponing things or not doing things? For example, very first week there will be a test. So those who are sitting and listening to the class, can everyone come and give the test? No, it won't happen. Some of you will have excuses. Maybe in health situation, then also there is online test you can give actually, right? But when you feel responsible, right, that this decision which I have taken, I have to be responsible, right? I have to behave responsibly, I have to act responsibly. So that should bring you here and make you do what it takes to see the progress, see the improvement, right? So every moment you feel responsible. So then this distraction won't be there, right? The discipline will naturally come to you, right? And one of the biggest menace which I see when people come and so as you said, most of you raised hand saying that you have come to Bangalore, maybe for the first time. So most of you are from outside Bangalore, right? So what is the first thing you are feeling here is that in addition to exam, heat and everything, the freedom, right? So you are like, nobody is watching you here, right? In Bangalore, nobody is watching you, right? Your parents haven't put CCTV in your rooms, right? Or we haven't given access to our CCTV to your parents. They don't know where you are going. They cannot monitor if you are going to Orion Mall or doing something, right? They cannot monitor if you are studying or not. Nobody is watching. So that is the freedom. So you have freedom to be whatever you want to be, whoever you want to be, wherever you want to go. In a way, as long as you have money with you, you have the freedom. So use that freedom very responsibly, right? So don't lose that trust. First within you, you should have the trust. And the parents' trust, they have believed that you are a good person and your character is good. If somebody tells something, they won't believe because they have strong belief that you are not going to deviate, because you have created that expectation, right? So now what happens is that some people get deviated, they fall into relationships, right? So this is something strictly no. I know it is none of my business. Already I can hear within you the inner voice, none of my business. But even then I am telling you, not from the perspective of something to preach you about relationship or anything, because I care about your success, right? I personally care about your success in the professional front, right? The personal front, there is a whole life ahead for you, right? Where you can do all these things. So right now, when you are in the institution, when you are in the Bangalore, ensure that your 100% focus is on how to crack this examination, right? So usually people fall into this thing when they are insecure, when they are underconfident, or when they see an opportunity. No, other person is brilliant, let me, there are some opportunist mindset also. But if you are brilliant, be careful of that kind of thing, right? And if you're not so brilliant, you can become brilliant when there is focus, right? So will you all remain single? I mean, not lifelong, like till you crack this examination. Yes or no? Hmm? Somebody said no. Right. And don't get addicted to things. Addicted to, unnecessary things. You don't need, right? So you imagine yourself as an officer. Tomorrow, in fact, so this is a reality that at some point of time, within next 5 years, most of you are going to become government employees. Some of you IAS, IPS, IFS, KAS officers, forest service officers, right? Some other exams, right? Bank exam, something. It will happen. Those who stay the race, they will definitely end up with one of the good jobs. So when you are going to be part of a responsible position, right? You have to impart your duties with responsibility. You cannot be the same old person, right? So you might be seeing the news, corruption news in Karnataka. What is it? What? No, PSI scam is there, the recent hot news. Some MLAs are caught up with 7+ crore hard cash. So in their home, in their room, office. Right. What does it say? So what did you feel when you saw that in the news? I should also become KS officer. Huh? So what did you feel? You haven't seen it. ಯಾರಿಗೇನು ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ಲಿಲ್ವಾ? ರಕ್ತ ಕುದಿಲಿಲ್ವಾ ಯಾರಿಗೂ? ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ? And most of these officials, were selected through corruption, right? And the way with which they do it, there is a fearlessness, right? We call it as impunity. They do it with impunity, means they are not afraid of consequences. The same person is confident, he will come out of the jail, he will never go to jail. It's a matter of another 1 month, 2 months, everyone will forget, right? Whether it is some Swami doing something in mud, some fellow doing this kind of corruption. So we usually tend to forget, right? So now, see, all of you are not like that. So all of you are like clean individuals, good individuals. Now what I believe is that to become a good officer, you need to be a good aspirant first, right? If you change yourself within from now, if you become a disciplined, really goal-oriented, focused individual. No, focus, this is a favorite dialogue of mine, the focus on the process. So this process, what is going on, be always focused on this. Try to do best, try to use this moment to best of your ability. So don't keep looking at the result, right? So when you focus on this week to do well, so the weekly test you will do well. And every week test, every day quiz, if you keep doing them to the best of your ability, the accumulated effect, as I said, you will start seeing them after 7-8 months. In every subject it happens. Even in answer writing also, there is daily one question we are giving. Do write. So don't have fear within you saying that I don't know how to write, nothing. So you can ask a teacher, you can ask your mentor. Just, it is a very easy question and very easy answer. It is just that you have to come out of here and just write it. And I tell people, preserve your first set of answers and first set of essays, right? You can actually, when you become a topper, you can show them. So when I started my journey, this is how I used to write. This is the worst way anybody can write. And over 1.5 to 2 years, this is the progress I have made. Just before writing mains, what happens is that in the full length mains, for example, the full length mains test in geography, you will score maybe 40, 50, 60 marks right now out of 250. Out of 250, you will score 40, 50, 60 marks. Very rarely, very few people score 70, 80 marks. If you keep writing every day, every week, every month, just before mains test, most of your scores will be in the range of 100 to 110. So it naturally increases as your understanding, as your practice intensifies, the marks increases. And if you are scoring between 100 to 110 in our tests, so you will easily score in the same range in the real mains, plus or minus 5 or plus or minus 10 marks. And most of the cases it is better than the mock tests, right? You might have heard toppers, I used to score low in the mock, but in the real exam I did well, right? So the answer writing also don't ignore, and most of the people join insights because of answer writing, right? And it was me who started this answer writing culture like some 10 years ago, right? So before that there was no website for all this stuff, no quiz, no answer writing, nothing. So I started this daily answer writing challenge, secure initiative, and it was like kind of democratized, where anybody can, sitting any part of the world, not just India, could start writing answer, share their answers there, other aspirants would do, review each other, and like that, like thousands of people have got ranks by following the website. And now if somebody could do, you might have heard Anu Kumari, right? Rank 2, so I think 4 years ago. Anu Kumari, she is Kerala cadre IAS officer, rank 2. So there is a clip on NDTV, right? So where as soon as the result came out, so when NDTV went and interviewed her, she says that for current affairs quiz and answer writing, she relied on the Insights IAS website, for which she is grateful, something like that she said. For optional, she took the guidance because she was not able to afford coaching or anything. She stayed back at home, followed the website initiatives and cracked the examinations. And Srushti Deshmukh, she used to write answers on our website, secure initiative, every day. She used to post answers, get it reviewed. She used to follow quiz. She followed number of website, but ours was the major website. So if people could do independently, staying away from this kind of competitive hub, you can do much more than that when you are at actually the center of the competition, right? So try to use all the facilities here. So how we can help? I have already integrated with the whole talk, right? So how we are going to help is, we will be more consistent, right? So classes will happen without fail, all the tests will happen, there will be evaluation of test, there will be mentorship, whatever we have promised and whatever is part of the OGP, everything will be done. So it is up to you actually. Right. I hope especially this batch, I have spoken more about this. I hope most of you have got clarity about what needs to be done, right? Did you get the clarity? So how many questions you will solve by December? MCQs? How many static MCQs? 2000 per subject. But overall? How many? Polity, geography, economics, 2000 questions each, minimum. Right, 6000 questions. And then environment, modern history, science and tech, art and culture, maybe around 1000 questions each. Minimum 10,000 static questions, right? And 6000 current affair questions. By December, you should solve at least minimum 15,000 MCQs. You do this prelims, which is now labeled as the most difficult phase, right, will be your easiest phase. Will you do it? And this is one part, every day 1 or 2 hours might go into it, and then you are going to listen to the class, making notes from the class, you are going to revise it, and you are going to write hundreds of answers. Together everything, right, will get you so much knowledge and practice that you will get the confidence that in 24 you can crack this examination. So it comes down to that, can you just pull yourself back, make yourself sit and do it again and again and again and again, for next 1.5 years. If you can just do this, ensure this, you have everything in front of you, right, just to crack this examination. It is actually that simple, simplifying IAS exam preparation. That is our tagline. Any doubts? Full silent, serious agbitralla. Any non-Kannadigas here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Where are you from? You? Kerala. What about you from? Huh? Where? Osur, Tamil. Okay. Okay, it's okay. No, non-Kannadigas I am asking. So there somebody raised hand, no? Osur, Tamil, okay. So what about others? All Kannadigas, Pakka Kannadigar. So before COVID, half the class used to be North Indians, right? Post COVID, when we set up branch in Delhi, and what we did was we stopped the exodus of Karnataka people to Delhi. Easily, some of you would have easily gone, to Delhi. So now you don't have to go to Delhi and suffer all the extreme weather, arrogance, negligence, indifference. So here there is so much good supportive environment is there, and I am very proud to say, and I am very honest with you. It's very good year, and between prelims to mains we get so many students from all part of India, because they think to write answers they should come to inside IAS to write the mains test series. So at that time you will see people from all over India coming and writing these mains tests here. And you are in this kind of competition. You will have the best of the best year, right? To make a comparison, to see the benchmarks, to what level you can improve. So that is what I keep telling. When parents come and bring their children, they tell, I am putting my child to you, make him IAS or IAS. My very next dialogue is, just ask your child to meet us regularly, right? If so many people have come, the children don't meet, most of them. As if we are going to ask them, fees, something like that, nothing. And we are the most supportive people, when you come and meet, right? So we encourage you, and there is always a constructive criticism. So what I do when you write an essay, bring to me, what I do is that, so let us say the essay is very bad. Usually it is very bad in the very beginning. So within my mind I know that it deserves 5 marks or 10 marks or 20 marks out of 125, right? So now, so I tell them, so excellent job. So you have taken an initiative to write an essay for the first time you have written. So this is the beginning, right? But what you have written is very basic. It is just the beginning. So try to write another essay next week. So try to increase your essay. Usually what they write is 3 to 4 pages maximum. First time those who write. So I tell them you increase it by another 2 sides. And I will tell them how to do that also. I cannot just tell them. And if some people insist that, sir, give me marks, right? I tell them this is very basic, I will not give you marks. So when I start seeing real improvement, I will start giving you marks, you can bring it. But there are some, really strong people. Sir, I know what you are thinking, doesn't matter, give me marks, right? Doesn't matter how much low you are going to give me marks. And then I proudly give them, So it might get in the real exam maybe 5 marks, 10 marks, 15 marks. And my very next dialogue is that, don't lose this essay, right? Don't miss this essay, preserve it. Because if you meet me with another 10 essays, right, the minimum marks will be 55, right? With another 20 essay, you will be scoring in the range of 60 plus marks, right? So you can see how we started and how we have reached, right? So that is the measure of progress. One can feel proud about it. And I have so many students who have done that and got IAS and IPS by merely increasing their marks in the essay papers. Nandini Kyar, her previous attempt, she had got 84 in the essay paper, right? So when she came and she also showed like so many essays. So I think she got 144 or something, 146. And similarly, there was one Nitish, he also around 80s, I think. He got 144, he got All India rank 8 in 2014. So there was one guy called Nikhil, he is SP, Raichur. So he had got 45 in the previous attempt. So he was not that bad. I don't know what mistake he had gone. Maybe he got deviated or he was not able to figure it out. So in the next essay, he got into this passionate mode, like ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, to kind of revenge kind of attitude. Let me write more and get more marks. So he wrote nearly 30 essays between prelims and mains. I evaluated all of them. He got 159 marks that year. And because of essay, he got rank 107 and he got Karnataka IPS. So there are n number of examples. One, there is Abhishek Gowda, who is in Assam Meghalaya Cadre, Dr. Abhishek. So he came from Kannada medium. He used to get these low marks in the beginning. So because Kannada medium people start slowly, but they also improve with more practice. And he got equal marks to Jaydev's essay in the real exam, 142 something, right? So and again in the mock test itself we have seen improvement. In the first mock they would be scoring very low and progressively it improves. So I am talking about essay and ethics evaluation here, but GS 1, 2, 3 also, when you are showing to your mentors, the same story happens. Prelims also, it is proportionate to your depth of understanding of the concept. Second, practice. The more you practice, the more progress you will see in terms of increase in your mocks, right? So in the 50 question first mock, you will score hardly 10, 15, 20 marks, even after listening to class, even after revision. But that will also improve, right? So these are the the best advices, best guidance you can actually get in the span of 1 to 2 hours. So don't let it go waste, right? So let it be imprinted in your head and try to do. And from today itself, what is the first task you need to do? When you go back, syllabus plus take a copy. Everybody wants to become IAS, right? IAS, IPS how many? Okay, 6, 7 people, good. Indian Foreign Service, good, 6, 7 people. So barring these 12, 13 people, everybody wants to become IAS and IPS, Indian Foreign Service, right? You are clear about that? Are you clear about it? Can I ask, why do you want to become IAS? The most difficult question in the interview. Can anybody answer? So why do you want to become IPS? ಹೇಳಿ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಿಂಗೆ IPS ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು? ಜಂಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, IAS ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ? ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೆದರ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, ಹೇಳಿ. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮಂಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಹೆದರ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ದೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ.
Sir, IAS is one job where you can make a lot of contribution to the society. Like there are a lot of people who are vulnerable, and being an officer or being a bureaucrat, you can make a policy change, like you can get into policy making. And also there are people where government schemes or anything is not reachable for them. So you can be a bridge for them and also making the society even better.
Good, very good. So very good answer. I mean, very good purpose. So what about others? ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಬೇಟು ಕ್ವಿಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವಾ? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಧೈರ್ಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋಕೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಅದರ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ದಟ್. ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್. ಹೆದರ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ಬರು ಡೌಟ್ ಕೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆದರ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಬಿ ಅಫ್ರೈಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಡೌಟ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್. ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯುವರ್ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಎನಿ ಫಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ವಿಲ್ say no to you. They may say after the class, but most of the time they will actually explain within the class. So knowing why IAS is very important, or why IPS, or why Indian Foreign Service. So the reason, if the purpose is very strong, why you really want to get into the services, that is another force which can keep you disciplined, right? If the desire to get into IAS is deep rooted within you, or any of these services, if it is really deep rooted, that I really want to crack this examination, right? So then I don't think that will allow you to get distracted. So sometimes failures are inevitable, they will be there. Don't get scared by them. So I gave this dialogue, be tougher than the exam itself, right? We call this is the toughest exam, so you be tougher than the so called toughest exam, so then exam will become easy for you. Correct? So sikkavade serious idiri batcher. So when did you come to Bangalore, all of you? Evaru bandiralla? How many? 2 days ago, 3 days ago? 2 days. ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ 2 ದಿನ? Looking for room, got settled. Good. What about others? Bucket, chambu, trunk. So I studied in Navodaya school, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನವೋದಯ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್? ಇಬ್ಬರೇನಾ? Good. So 5th standard there used to be an entrance exam, right? We had to write that entrance. ಯಾರು ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಬರೆದು? It's okay. So ಪಾಸ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ we had to take all these, ಚಂಬು, ಬಕೆಟು, ಟ್ರಂಕ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ 1995. ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ಯಾರು ಹುಟ್ಟಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್. So then, we all came from very poor background, like really kind of deep poverty. So ಸಾಲ ಗೀಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿದ್ವಿ. We took some loan and all. So first time ಹೋದಾಗ what we used to do, ಹುಡ್ದಾರ. They used to tie key to that, and then key ತಗೊಂಡು ಟ್ರಂಕ್ ಹಾಕೋದು, and then it is just like dress, your inner wears and books. So now and then maybe parents used to come once in a month, third Sunday. So they would bring bread, maybe Parle-G biscuit pack. So to keep them preserved for another 1 month, we used to lock and keep them. And in Navodaya school system, there used to be so much corruption. We didn't know that there was corruption when we were students, because getting 3 times free meals, which was better than what we were eating at home, itself was a luxury, privilege. So we never complained. We thought, of course, it is good. It's a blessing for us. But then later, when I came out, I realized we were supposed to be given 1 egg every day, 1 glass of milk every day. So they used to give eggs only 2 days in a week, no milk at all. We used to steal milk. So they used to heat milk, outside. So we used to steal, school days, right? Steal in the sense we used to take our share, not stealing, which was to be given to us, we used to do that. So then when we came out, especially like 4-5 years ago, then started thinking about it. There used to be so much corruption, which was because of corrupt DCs, district collectors, right? So the principal would take some share, then give it to DC. DC was the direct in charge of Navodaya school, the central schools, right? So now looking back, I worry. Think that, like, if some of you, when you become district collector, you will become actually. So you will be in charge of this one Navodaya school, in addition to so many things. You will not have time to think about this Navodaya school. So if we can ensure the process is good, right, so we would have got healthy nutrition, right, we would have been even better personality, basically at that time the it matters at that age, when you are 6th standard to 12th standard, healthy nutrition is better for your both cognitive development, mental development and also physical development. So we were not given uniforms multiple times, I mean according to the tenders. So when I came out, I started looking at the tender, like, we were supposed to be given 10 times of what we were actually given, right. So they would give us soap, how, buy 2 get 1 free soap. So it would come in pocket of 3 soaps, right. We were supposed to be given one individual soap, but they would buy from market, buy 1 get 1 free, or buy 2 get 2 free, something like that. And then 50% of the cost, swaham, right. And the quality of food also was not that used to be good. So in 11th and 12th standard we used to realize it, right. So the reason I am telling is, through my experience, is that you are going to be part of this system. As she said, the schemes, policies which are not implemented, this is what, right. So once you start implementing each and every scheme properly, right, the word properly is very vague. When you reach the entire benefit to the beneficiary in its entirety, what is deserved by one beneficiary, whether it is a child in a residential school, government run residential school, or whether it is any beneficiary of housing scheme or Narega worker, if you ensure that their part of the share benefit reaches to them entirely, which you can actually do, that is your responsibility, your duty, if you do it. So imagine, you will not struggle to get good education. All of you are victims of this whole system, right, directly or indirectly, you yourself is a victim of this whole system, right. So this journey, don't keep looking at only from prelims, mains and interview perspective. Look at it beyond your success. I mean, IAS is not the end of this examination, or IPS or IFS. So don't allow this success to get into head and behave as if you are a privileged person, very special person. Now I have seen so many hundreds of IAS officers, it doesn't make any difference, right. Anybody who behaves arrogantly, right, so I have my way of telling them, get out, right. Stay humble, doesn't matter whether you become IPS, whatever it is, as long as you are humble and empathetic, you can always provide service. So I think this process actually teaches you that. So for that, so it brings me to the last part, just 5 minutes, about cultivating hobbies and developing hobbies. So the interview is not the test of knowledge, right. So as I said, you have to treat this exam as one unit. So don't look at interview as a separate process. It is part of the, so all your struggle, everything ends beautifully in the UPSC building. When you go in front of 5 members and you sit and you answer to their diverse set of questions. So they will constantly be imagining a future officer in front of them. Through their questions, through your responses, not just answers, through your responses, through your behavior, through your attitude, constantly they will be imagining, so what kind of officer, whether first question is, will he or she can be an officer? If they have that suitability, what kind of officer they are going to become, grow up as part of the career. So to do well in the interview, to show that kind of quality, mere knowledge will not get you that kind of impression in their minds, right. So you should have the ability to talk diversely, you should have ability to talk in a multi-dimensional way about any issue, not from the mere textbook perspective, right, or only from the current affair perspective. So to develop that, extra reading is must, and because you are starting a bit early, so every day half an hour if you devote, you can easily complete at least 25 books in 1 year. Half an hour every day, it can be novels or non-fiction, right, half an hour every day. And this I actually tried, even I used to read a lot, then in this gap I had stopped. So again recently I tweeted about it, monthly reading challenge. I told, I put a tweet saying that, so I have nearly 1 lakh followers on Twitter, right? So they usually respond very nicely. So I posted this challenge and I said I am going to start with this book. There is a new book by Salman Rushdie. Its name is Victory City. You know Salman Rushdie, you might have heard. So he recently was stabbed in the eye. He became blind and he was under fatwa. So his head was to be collected by somebody from Iran, because he wrote a book called Satanic Verses. Satanic Verses, it was something blasphemous. It is called something like against Islam, something like that. So he was supposed to be killed and somebody tried to kill him. So his latest novel is Victory City. So I said I started on 23rd February. So I just spent every day half an hour only. On March 4 I said by March 4 I will complete the book. So on March 4 I completed the book. It took around 10 days, right? So in 10 days I could complete a book. It is book of 358 pages, right? Half an hour. So before reading that book I was recommending the same to you people. So I felt, let us not be hypocrite, hypocrisy. Suggest you something but I am not doing myself. So I have taken up the second book, right? All the Light We Cannot See is another novel which has won the Pulitzer Prize. So I have tweeted about that also. So I am planning to complete that book by March 15th, which I will definitely do it. Just half an hour reading. Half an hour is like nothing in your day of 24 hours. Just before sleep, half an hour. If you read even 10-15 pages, it will naturally help you complete one book in at least 15 days, right? So this is extremely important because those people who are scoring highest marks in the interview are those who are well read in terms of these fiction and non-fiction books. So those who are scoring 206, for example, Akshay Sima, he scored 212 in the interview. So I also did like 7-8 marks. It was the second highest score. It is still the second highest score in the recent times. Second highest interview score. So he was well read, both literature, Kannada, English, right, other books. Same with Jaidev, he got 206. Avinash got 198 in the very first interview. So they were all well read, reading different kinds of books, especially non-fiction and classic fiction, not like books by Chetan Bhagat and other stuff, standard books. So they will help you enrich your essays also. Your essay will always stand out. This is one excellent hobby, reading books. Second one is creating your own blog and writing stuff, right? So you can open a blog. There is something called wordpress.com or blogspot.com. So what is a blog? So blog is a space where you can write. It is just like diary writing, or you can write your own personal observation, or you can write about issues and whatever your observations about the world, your commentary, your opinion, anything. So you can pick up any topic, you can write 100-200 words. You can make it public or you can make it private. So only you can read, or if you want an audience to read it, you can make it public also. So that you will also gain your own audience, followers, they start appreciating. So this reading books and writing hobby will enhance your prospects of getting very good marks in essay paper, ethics paper and in the interview, right? So how many of you have reading habit? Good. Two. Only 2 people. What do you read? Good. So she is talking about Purnachandra Tejasvi books. So what about others? It can be Kannada books, Telugu books, Tamil, English. ಯಾಕೆ ಓದಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಬುಕ್ಸ್? What could be the regular basis? Yeah, of course I know. So you might have read now and then, but may I know the reason why you people don't read books? So in our Navodaya school, there used to be a library which was open all the time. We were encouraged to read books. I've been reading books since class 6. Novels, non-fiction, different. Only during last 3-4 years, there was a pause. Again I have started. And it used to help me score one of the highest marks in essay paper. And interview also I got 210 marks myself, right? When I gave UPSC interview. So give me 1 or 2 reasons why you don't have reading habit. See, if you don't have that reading habit, even this reading for exam also becomes difficult. One reason could be never encouraged anyone, maybe nobody ever actually told you that you should start reading these kind of books. Maybe you never came in touch with that kind of circle, people who used to read books. In your school, in your home, there was no such kind of environment to encourage you to read, right? Mostly serials, TV, right? And your friend circle also might not be like that. So that is what I meant, in the very beginning. It's a journey towards transformation. You have to read. So don't see this. See, if I was taking this session in 2016 or 17, I wouldn't be saying this. I actually didn't talk about this actually. At that time, you would still crack this examination based on same Lakshmikant, NCERT and these books. So now since 2019, it is changing. People with lateral thinking, critical thinking, right, who can think out of the box, who are a bit creative, right. So more and more number of them are getting good ranks. Still there are people who are cracking with rote learning, but the better ranks are going to these people who have these abilities, right. So it is also simple, you can start with any simple book. So you can open Twitter, like I have mentioned few books there, small books. You can just start and reading. ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ವಿ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಸ್ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದು. ಐ ರಿಯಲಿ ಮೀನ್ ಇಟ್, because as I told you, this orientation is kind of opening your mind to realities, truths. I cannot just say that read our notes, read these NCERTs, all these questions, and you will become IAS. I will be dishonest to myself. Unfortunately, the exam, it is not unfortunate, so one might label it as elitist. People with such kind of hobby, such kind of things are getting ranks, right? But I believe everybody can actually develop those qualities. You have plenty of time. As I said, in 1 year you can easily read around 20-25 books, which is good amount of book. Many people wouldn't have read those many books in 10 years also, right? Even if you read like 10-15 different books, that will totally change the way you think, the way you write essay, the way you approach, the way you talk with your friends, the way you discuss things, the way it gives you confidence to talk in public, ask good questions. It improves from every angle, right? So don't be mediocre. What is the meaning of mediocre? What about in there? What is the meaning of mediocre? Don't be average. ಆ ಕಡೆನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಕಡೆನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. So don't be like that. So be very ambitious, be fiercely ambitious, learn everything. So use that freedom, when you have this freedom, you have freedom to literally to read anything, everything, do everything, right? If you can use that for creative activities, right, for better preparation in this examination, right, you will be a good individual, good officer, and then a good topper also, right, who will not preach nonsense things on YouTube. You will tell the reality to people. Okay. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಟೋಪಿ. ಸೊ ಎನಿ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್? ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಡ್ಡ ಕೇರ್ಕಂತಾರೆ ಹುಡುಗರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. Yeah, sit down and ask it.
So newspaper, people tell that you need to make notes on the newspaper, but it gets like time consuming business.
So newspaper notes ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? Should we make notes out of newspapers? Yes or no? ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರೋದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Is anyone doing it, making notes?
I only did it. What I used to do is one news ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದರ background ಮತ್ತೆ I used to connect it with the previous year related ಇತ್ತ. Suppose ಈಗ ಒಂದು animal ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು IUCN ರೈನ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಏನೋ ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಸೆಂಚುರಿ ಸಾರಿ ಆ ತರ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಸಮ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್. ಬಟ್ ಅದು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಬರೆಯೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ನನಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಲೇ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ 2 hours 2.5 hours ಬರೆಯೋಕೆ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 2 hours ಆಗಿದೆ.
So my personal suggestion is not to ಬೇಜಾರಾಗ್ತಿದೆ. So my personal suggestion is not to make notes, non personal suggestion. So so what you can do is that, see, in the beginning, especially when you are in the beginning phase of preparation, try to enjoy the newspapers, reading them. So this enjoyment, involvement in reading will be lost when you try to make notes, when you try to decipher every word. So at least first 1 or 2 months you should first develop interest in reading, understanding the events, right? So don't try to make notes. So notes from where you can make is quiz questions, right? So if you're solving 20 questions every day, from those 20 questions whatever you are learning, you make notes and keep it ready, right? So I think anyway you are solving the question, anyway you are reading the solution, right? So that will be that is also part of the current affairs. It will cover whatever current affairs would be there in the newspaper. So that is the best source. But definitely read original newspapers. Never go for our current affairs or any other current affairs directly. Compulsorily read hard copy, the Hindu newspaper, the Indian Express or Deccan Herald, but the Hindu is better. So take the hard copy, every day invest minimum 1 hour trying to understand the editorial section and national and international news, right? So in the beginning you will not understand everything, but as you especially complete economics and polity and some amount of environment, so most of the issues you will definitely understand. So in the beginning itself don't try to make notes of everything, right? So in the notes format you will get everything. So there is monthly compilation of current affairs, weekly compilation, right? So this is general advice, but if you are already in the habit of making notes from school days, you have learnt only through by making notes, and in that case you can continue with that habit. But if you are not with that habit and if you want to develop it new, so better not to go with that. So go with the quiz habit. Yes.
ಸರ್ ಇದು ನಾನು UPSC ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಈಗ KPSC ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಕೊಡೋಡಿ. ಸೊ KPSC ಅಂತ ಬಂದರೆ ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪೇಪರ್ಗಳು ಯಾವುದು?
Prajavani. So the question is if she has to prepare for KPSC parallelly to understand Karnataka issues, if you are giving in English medium Deccan Herald, right? Or if you are giving, so Kannada news, so Prajavani is the best. Ira Kannadadalli, that is the best. Compared to other Kannada newspaper, Prajavani is better than other Kannada papers. Okay. In ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. How many of you are reading Prajavani? Do you read? How many of you are reading newspapers? ಮೊನ್ನೆಯಿಂದ like since childhood anybody reading newspaper here? Very good. 1 2 3. Which paper you are reading? Vijayvani. Good, that is also good paper. So what about since graduation days, since college days? Good. So in ಉಳಿದವರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Good. ಇನ್ನು one more doubt.
ಸರ್ ಈಗ KPSC ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ UPSC ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಕೋಚಿಂಗ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ತಾನೆ ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಆಡ್ ಆನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ
So okay, this leads me to answering one part. So like some of you from Andhra also, Tamil Nadu. So you take your state PSC exams very seriously. KPSC also, doesn't matter when they are going to call. So again you are in a luckily you are in a good place because we focus more on answer writing. Now in KPSC what is happening, the interview marks they are reducing it to 25 marks. Now there is no optional also, right? The prelims, I think if you just stick with whatever plan we discussed as part of this orientation earlier, prelims will be a cakewalk for you. Now getting rank in KPSC and even in APPSC, Telangana, UPPSC, what I have heard, solely depend on the mains marks. And especially KPSC, when there is only 25 marks in the interview, if you score maximum marks in mains and there is no optional, right? And most of the GS you are going to learn in depth as part of the course. So if you are very serious, you have highest chance of cracking KPSC. Now coming to our question, the Karnataka part, I have seen the papers. It is only 25 to 30%, less than 30%. So again, if there are 20 questions, there are hardly we'll see like 4 to 5 questions specifically Karnataka. So Karnataka related history and geography you need to focus more, especially history and art and culture. So that any textbook you can read, in 1 week or 2 weeks. So don't worry about much. So the economy, every time they announce budget, there is a document, they release, about the Karnataka economy trends and everything. And there is a book called Handbook of Karnataka. So you can take them and just when they announce the notification, so then you can start reading. Now from now onwards you don't have to read. So you don't have to put extra effort. Okay. And all the majority of the people who cracked this examination recently, the KPSC, so 90% of them are UPSC aspirants. Those who prepared only for UPSC, those who gave UPSC mains, some of who have given UPSC interviews, only they have got ranks in the KPSC, right? So it is a good decision that you have taken, but at the same time don't be adamant. Just because you want to become IAS, IPS, never tell yourself that you will never give this KPSC exam. Don't make that mistake. Okay. You don't have to prepare separately, keep preparing for UPSC. Whenever the exam is called, apply for it, and if the exam is conducted, right, you go and write the examination and forget it, because the result will usually take 2 to 3 years. Now, there are cases, people who have got result, meanwhile they got married, remarried, they had children, right, children went to Anganwadi, and then and the same person became in charge of that Anganwadi, something. So this is a cycle. So don't focus on KPSC, just focus on UPSC. At Insights it is UPSC, IAS, IPS, and IFS. Achha, they are giving chocolates. Yes. It's a small tradition we have. So for all the 1 lakh rupees we pay small chocolate and then we end coaching. And before prelims also I do a session, and in that session also I give chocolate. The people come for chocolate, not for the session, so that they can take it for next day prelims. Between break they can have it. And we give chocolate to attract more crowd. Any other doubts? Yes, very good. So our doubt is, question audio books. That is one good way of completing a book. When you are walking, when you are meditating, and when you are eating food, so you can always listen to these audio books. Very good. And most audio books, most of the novels, most of the non-fiction, every book has a audio book version nowadays. See, as and when the subject gets over, our monthly magazines are divided subject wise. Same I showed quiz, geography, polity, economy. So if the geography gets over, any geography related current affairs, you pick it and add to your geography notes, right? So do it for every subject. And there is another secure initiative. Okay, secure initiative, have you seen that? So what we do is that every day we post questions. So for example, this is a geography cum environment question. The ICs are of immense importance to the world's ecosystem, economy and society, and it is crucial that they are protected and managed effectively to ensure their continued health and sustainability discuss. Right. So it is part of the GS1. Okay. And the source of the question is Down to Earth. So there is a Down to Earth magazine which is focused on the environmental issues. So this is the Down to Earth website. So based on this article, we have framed a question, right? So then we explain what is the demand of the question, how to write answers. So like that, there is another GS2 questions, like usually 6 to 8 questions we post. And when the question is posted, people can post answer, Chandrahar, so he has written answer here. And some people, post screenshot of what they have written. They write in the notebook, they take the photo and they post. Somebody has put some kind of diagram here. So like this, Srushti, Deshmukh and all, they used to post comments here. So in this initiative, so every day 6 to 8 questions, mains questions, and then we give its model answer also next day. So there is a document with model, for the same question there is a model answer. So once your geography is over, you pick up all geography question and answers and then you add to them. You can either practice them or you can just read them. In the beginning, start with the reading, okay. And coming to essay, how to start essay, I'll just give you a brief. So in the beginning, don't take a topic and directly start writing. So what you need to do, so all of you are listening, right? So take a topic beforehand. For example, we have another initiative. It's called as weekly essay challenge, right? So the topics which we post are similar to what UPSC is asking, something abstract philosophical topics, right? For example, delayed success mostly stays forever. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Something. I'm just choosing easy topic for you. For example, this is the topic, education breeds peace, right? So now you can just take the topic right now. For 1 week, you brainstorm every day 10-15 minutes, right? So maybe you can collect some material also. Now first understand the meaning. Education breeds peace is a very easy topic to understand, right? Basically, education establishes peace, brings peace in the society or in the world in general. So the purpose of education is to establish peace. So that is a broad meaning. Now the question is, how will you write 1200 words on this particular topic, right? To write 1200 words, you should have so many ideas, so many examples, so many stories, anecdotes, right? So that is what you need to do. First you ask a simple question, okay, how? How does education breed peace? How does it do actually? Education breeds the peace. When you look at the education, what is education? Education starts from 3 years age to the nursery to the higher education or doctoral, postdoctoral. There is something called formal education. There is something called informal education. There is something called education that people get because of the experience also. And there is education people get by reading extra stuff or like by listening to other lecturers and videos or something. There is something called self-learning also, right? Now, how education breeds peace? So, between education and peace, there is humanity. There are humans, right? So, now education has to prepare a human to become a peaceful human being. to make a human being peaceful, how does education help? First, it makes him understand that we are all equal. The world is for everyone, right? And then it will also make him a better human being in a way that he is not greedy, right? So he is not treacherous, he is not getting into crime, right? He knows that through ethics I should earn my livelihood, through proper employment I should earn. So you start respecting other cultures, other religion, other caste. There is no discrimination. So how education does this, right? So then you should ask question: does physics, chemistry, math, and geography does this? That is what formal education. Is there any missing within the education, right? So there is education. Even then there is violence around the world. Now Vladimir Putin is an educated person, right? American president is an educated person, and then again the president of maybe Prime Minister of Pakistan, or their defense chief is also an educated person, and common goons, some on the road who involved in the crime against women or anyone, they are also most of the cases educated on. So how do you define the word educated, right? So these are all the thoughts that you should keep asking. You should not look at only education. School education will make people better and then give the world peace. It is not like that. So there should be a critical thinking aspect. So 1 week you have to ask like this, like 30-40 different questions. So then either you can think of your own ideas, or you can read certain books, not books, collect quotes, right? Education and peace related quotes you can collect. And then how did education make some of the people propagate peace? For example, Mahatma Gandhi. So what kind of education made Mahatma Gandhi to become what he became? He basically achieved everything through non-violence. Or Nelson Mandela, or Martin Luther King Jr. There are so many people, right? So what kind of education they got, right? And what did they talk about education? What were their thoughts on education? So these are the content information. So you can collect in a notebook about these quotes and their sayings, how education helped people like Ambedkar. So removing caste discrimination is also breeding peace, right? So how did that happen? So like this you can collect some 5 important personalities, their thoughts, ideas, and one fine day when all the material is ready. You don't have to spend entire day, just like 10-15 minutes in a day. So take this topic, sit in a corner, and whatever you have thought about entire week, just go on writing. Don't worry about structure, don't worry about presentation, don't worry about if the ideas are continuous or not organized, nothing. Just do this homework. So slowly what happens, you have to do this for at least 5 to 6 weeks minimum. 1 or 2 months you do it. After that you will get the courage to write on your own, then and there, right? You can pick up a topic, brainstorm then and there, and start writing the essay. Essay is one paper which will give maximum returns with minimum efforts. You don't have to sit in classes like this for geography, like geography, art and culture, society, geography, modern history. So these 4-5 classes, after spending 120 days, you will get good in GS1 paper, which is equal to same 250 marks. Essay is not like that, right? It is more about extra reading and this extra practice. The more you do, you will get better, right? So this is one way of tackling the essay paper. See, 269 comments. So what people do is that, see, Panky answer. So he has written essay and he has posted like this. You can read this, right? Sometimes what people do is that they upvote, like this, thumbs up. So you can So Vinita Vinu, she has got 5 thumbs up. which means maybe a decent essay, right? Two educated minds that turn the violent chaos of India's independence movement into a powerful peace struggle. So of course she has written about Mahatma Gandhi and Ambedkar. So there is Ambedkar mentioned and there is Mahatma Gandhi, right? So you can read such kind of essays which are already written, right? And you can also get some more ideas and start writing. Got it? So you can use the website. Website is a complementary stuff. The classroom, you have everything, and we are also part of the classroom. If you make use of everything, this is small ecosystem here, right? You will be able to crack this examination. So wish you all the best. Thank you so much.